Hello everybody, LMick91 here with another Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report. Sorry it's been a long time since I posted any videos. I was on the East Coast for an internship for a while there. I didn't play any Warhammer Fantasy 40k or otherwise. So I'm hoping to make up for that for last time here. So I got a 2,000 point battle between my Bretonnians and my friends Lizardmen. We rolled up Battle for the Past, so we're playing lengthwise on the table. The terrain here, nothing really interesting besides in the middle there, you see there's that weird wireframe tower with the Sorcerer's Portal. That's a Sorcerer's Portal, so it's going to be casting spells everywhere. The big white square styrofoam on the right side, that's a forest. The little ladders you see are fences, and the Lizardmen are on top of a big foam, kind of like a temple thing, so we figured it'd be cool to use for them. Unfortunately, we couldn't find any cool Lizardmen themed terrain are spelled out in the rulebook, so that was kind of unfortunate. So if anybody knows of anything cool that could be used for like a Lizardmen temple or a spawning pool, that'd be neat. So anyway, let me go over deployment here. On his far right, that's those two units of skinks. Those aren't actually there. They're going to be scouting up later. So he has one Lizardmen unit on the hill, 20 strong. He has a unit of skinks with Croxagores on the front of the temple there. The Croxagores are being proxied by 3 Terminators because he didn't actually have any Croxagores. And I was fine with that. And then he has another unit of Saurus Warriors, and then a final unit of Saurus Warriors on the far right with his Slon level 4 with Lore of Life. He didn't take any Temple Guard. He's just trying a predominantly Saurus Warriors list, seeing how it works out for him. So that's how he deployed. On my side, on the left of the screen there, I have 2 Trebuchets. One's the actual model, the other one's a Dreadnought, because I just don't have a second Trebuchet model. Then I have some Bowmen on my far left, a unit of Knights of the Realm, a unit of Knights Errant with my Lord, with Heroic Killing Blow, and then another unit of Knights of the Realm with my BSB. Then I have a unit of 40 Men-at-Arms with level 4 Prophetess in there. I usually don't run my level 4 on foot, so I'm going to try something new here. I'm only using one wizard as well, which is different. I have my bowman kind of in the back there because I don't want his skinks to be within 12 inches of anything when they scout deploy. So I have all my bases covered there, and then I have a unit of Pegasus Knights on the far right. So my overall plan with this battle is to use my men-at-arms to hold up the area between that styrofoam piece, which is a wall, and the Sorcerer's Portal, and use my knights on the left flank to just decimate that flank. And hopefully my men-at-arms can just hold this side for long enough so I can sweep around. So they'll be the linchpin, then I'll sweep around on the left. So we'll see how well that works out over the game. His skinks skirmishers deployed. Like I said before, I didn't give them any room to scout deploy in my deployment zone, so they're gonna have to use a couple turns to get to my trebuchets, which will be just quite useful to me. So they just have to deploy 12 inches in front of me, and then I pray. So then after he deploys his skinks, I vanguard my Pegasus Knights over to the left here because I want them to be able to support my night charges. I'm not going to go up and try and get the Slon with them, which actually might not have been a bad idea to try and assassinate him, but I figured they'll be more useful over here on the left with my main charge here of my knights. So this is his first turn movement. He moves his skink skirmishers up behind that wall so I can't charge them. Pretty good move. He moves the rest of his blocks up as you see. Then he moves these skink skirmishers behind the wall and shoots at my bowmen. Only kills a couple of them, so nothing too dangerous going on there. And then that's all his turn does, and it goes to my turn. He casts Throne of Vines on his turn here, and I wasn't able to dispel it when it first came off, so that spell is in effect for the rest of the game because I just never have the means quite to dispel it, and that really comes back to get me. So on my turn 1, I have a choice of charging those skink skirmishers or shooting at with my bowmen, and because they're chameleon skinks, yeah, they're chameleon skinks, not skink skirmishers. So I would be at -1 because they're chameleon skinks, -2 because they're behind a fence. So I'd be hitting on 6s. So I figured I might as well charge them because I think in close combat I would do okay. And this is what's left after his stand and shoot reaction. All those poison darts just decimated my bowmen. But they're doing it. We'll see what happens there. This is my movement here, so you can see I'm starting to bring my plan to fruition. I move my men-at-arms up to block that gap. I bring my Pegasus Knights around to the far left to just try and help out, support that knight flank. And I move the rest of my knights up, as you can see, kind of on a slant. So if he charges one of them, I can get charged with the rest. Now I move my prophetess out of my men-at-arm unit because in the past, whenever I usually have a level 2 in here. Oh, and by the way, she's using heavens. Usually I have a level 2 with my men-at-arms, and she always dies whenever they get into close combat. So I figured I'd try this. I don't. I mean, it was a mistake in hindsight, but when I first did it, I didn't think he had any shooting that could get to me. He didn't really have any far-range spells, so I thought she'd be fairly safe, just kind of hanging out there and casting spells. On top of that, she needs to be closer to the knights to give them buffs. These are my trebuchet shots. I got I think 2 wounds on the Slawn and killed a couple of Saurus warriors, which is nice, but he has lower life, so it's not going to do a whole lot. And one thing we were wondering is if the Slong gets a lookout, sir, and if it's on a 2+, because I know he's an infantry model, and the rest of the Saurus warriors are also infantry, but his base size is different. So I figured he would get a lookout, sir. I wasn't sure though. So if anybody knows, it'd be great if you could let me know. So this is his turn, or excuse me, this is after combat. The chameleon skinks totally took out my bowmen. I didn't even kill one of them because they had a higher initiative than me. So in hindsight, probably would have been better just to try and shoot them, or maybe even just move up to block them. But you know, they're skirmishers; they get free reforms, and they could just kind of slither through my guys. So not a whole lot I really could have done there. So now they have free reign on my back lines, which is really fine with me. I don't want to overreact to them and send, say, my Pegasus Knights to go deal with them, because I figure that's just too much for a little unit, so they can have my trebuchets at this point. So this is his turn 2. Now this is where I realized that the damsel was a mistake, taking her out of the unit, because all those skinks with their poison shots can shoot at her, and she only has a 6-up ward save because of the blessing against it. So that was a pretty big mistake of mine. And also, he did this really smart. He angled his skinks in front of my men-at-arms as such. If I was to beat them and overrun, I would be his other skinks with the Croxagores could get a flank charge in me, or if I charged them in reform, he would have a really easy charge on me. So I was kind of in a tough position there, and again, my damsel was left way open for shooting. So this is during his magic phase. He gets Dwellers Below off on my men-at-arm unit. So this unit started off as 40, and they're sitting at 27 now. So I mean, I was actually really lucky. I only rolled about 3 dead guys every per 10. Like, I rolled up 10 at a time. I only rolled about 3 dead guys each one, so I was incredibly lucky to pass all those strength tests. But you know, this men-at-arm unit, it's looking a lot less likely to be able to hold this flank now. So during his shooting phase with his skinks, I got really lucky here. I mean, you know, I realize now how bad of a mistake it was to move the prophetess out of the unit, but I wasn't punished too harshly for it. She only took 1 wound. I think he got 3 wounds on her. I think I made 2 blessing saves or something ridiculous like that, so I was really fortunate. So going on to Bretonnian turn 2, I get a triple charge here with all 3 Knight Lances into that Saurus unit on the left. It doesn't quite look like my BSB's units in there, but they just have the left corner stuck in there. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. I just want to be able to focus fire all my knights into 1 unit. It's going to be super overkill, but I don't care. I just want them dead so I can take on this flank. That's one thing, as I play my Bretonnians more and more, I realize that overkill is kind of the name of the game with them. You have to pick your charges, charge them with everything at once, decimate it, you know, demolish the unit, and then reform and move on from there. You can't go in piecemeal. You really need to have knights supporting each other. My Pegasus Knights just kind of move around. They weren't, if they could have charged, but they would have just taken up space in the front, and I figured move them onto the flank for next turn's charges. I move my prophetess back into the men-at-arms so she doesn't get shot up again. And now this is during my magic phase. So the magic phase before this, I'd cast Command of Cassandora up by that Saurus warrior unit near the temple, and it's just kind of chilling there. But this turn, I cast Harmonic Convergence, and that went off, I think. And then I cast Chain Lightning because I had a couple dice left. I had 3 dice left. I just cast it on the skinks, and she miscast, and I rolled a 2, which is, as you guys know, is the worst one. So first thing that happened is a large blast template goes on the men-at-arms and took out, I only think a couple of them because they have the blessing, so they got a ward save from it, but it took out a good number. Did a wound on her, and just to make add insult to injury, she killed herself as well. So I have no magic now to compete with the Slawn with the level 4 with the 1 free dice per cast and the Lore Master of Life. Yeah, so my magic's done for the game. which is unfortunate. So, I mean, that's just the way the game works. You know, miscasts happen. So there's nothing I don't think I really could have done about that, especially on 3 dice. Usually, that's not too big of a risk. So I might try her again in the Men at Arms, but we'll see. So that's what happened in the Magic phase. So and then the Chain Lightning killed a couple of the skinks. It jumped the Croxagores, killed a few more skinks. Nothing too great. My Trebuchet shot again his Slon. His Slon regained all of his wounds last time, so I don't really see any better targets for my Trebuchets to be shooting at. Maybe the Croxagores, but if I can get the Slon down with 1 rock, you know, that's boom. That's all their points back and more. So keep lobbing rocks, but unfortunately they're not doing their job. So I love this picture. This is right before combat. The triple charge there. The BSB makes way to fight on that corner. The Lord's there with Heroic Killing Blow. So 2 blocks Knights of the Realm and 1 block of Knights Errant. After combat, we break them, and everything I pursue with everything to try and get into that last Saurus unit. So both my BSB and the Knights Errant get into the Saurus unit by the temple there. The dice you see by them, that's actually where the Comet of Cassandora, where I put it originally, and on my first turn, that seemed like a really good idea, because that's where all of his units were centered. But now, since it's been 3 magic phases and it hasn't gone off, it's kind of becoming a big liability, because if on his turn the Comet comes down, that's going to hit all my Knights as well, and that's going to be a huge problem. The Knight of the Realm unit on the far left didn't quite make it. Where you see the banner bearer, that's actually where the unit's supposed to be, but you know, because of movement trades, they couldn't quite fit up there, so that's where the unit's front actually is. I believe this is just another picture of that. So here's just an overview of the board after my second turn. Alright, so on his turn 3, he tries to charge his Saurus unit with his Slon into my BSB's flank. Thankfully, he fails it. I think he rolled like a 3 for his charge distance. So, I knew that might happen. I didn't think it'd be a huge problem, though, because his Slon's in the front rank, so if I could just, you know, keep attacking him with my Knights, even though they'd be only at strength 3. Well, actually, I guess on this turn they'd be at strength 5 because they technically charged, so that might have actually been beneficial to me, but again, it would have given him combat res and everything, so it didn't happen, so his Slon's just kind of hanging out there. And so this is during the magic phase, he got Shield of Thorns on that Saurus Warrior unit, and that thing is a pain. I never really realized how powerful that spell could be, especially when you have multiple units charging in. So it does 2d6 strength 4 hits to each unit, so it killed a good number of Knights before I even got to attack, which is really a bummer. And especially because strength 4 is so powerful against Bretonnia, because we get a worse armor save and no better blessing save. And as you can see, the Comet did not come down. There's now 4 tokens there, so I kind of breathed a little quick sigh of relief there, but that only means it's going to be stronger when it finally does come down, so we'll see what happens there. He moved his skinks up and shot down one of my trebuchets. I mean, they've shot for 2 turns, you know, I can't really ask much more of them. I figure they're dead in the water. So this is after combat. We break his Saurus unit. Thankfully, the Saurus unit actually had +4 toughness on them, but because of all the combat res I had, charging the BSB, the banner, the 2 ranks, I think I only killed like 1 or 2, and that was because the Lord just whipped it up with Heroic Killing Blow. We broke them. The Lord's unit ran them down. The BSB didn't go very far. So now I have 3 Knight Lances there that are kind of just flapping in the wind. But thankfully it's my turn next. So on my turn, I do a Swift Reform with everything but the Pegasus Knights. I bring the 1 Knight of the Realm unit that was on top of the temple over to the left. I bring my BSB's unit to the middle and flip around my Lord's unit with the Knights Errant. So now I just basically reformed my entire battle line. The Pegasus Knights are chilling on the flank. Yeah, they haven't really done much this game. In fact, I don't think they ever end up charging anything. So next time against Lizardmen, I might not take them. So where that template is, that's where the Comet's going to come. It actually came down this magic phase. And I only rolled a 5 for the inches, so that was fantastic. I usually goes 2d6 inches, so you know, typically it's anywhere between 7 and, you know, more than that, but I only rolled a 5, so it didn't hit anything, which was great. And so now on his turn, he charges in with his Croxagore into my Men-at-Arms, as well as the chameleon skinks that were over there into the flank. And I'm thinking, oh, well, you know, Men-at-Arms, you've done, like, at this point, they've done their job. They've held this flank, or they've held that little pass there in between the wall and the Sorceress Portal, and, you know, they're just going to take it here, and they're going to die, but they've done their duty, and the Knights will be proud of them, and thank them for the sacrifice later by, you know, not thanking them or their families. So, that combat's not looking too good. His skinks come over here and shoot some more at my trebuchet. Now, and this is after combat, so this is I was really surprised. I was not expecting the men-at-arms to do as well as they did. I got really lucky. I had 4 attacks going to the flank where the chameleon skinks were, and I killed them all, which was awesome because that was 4 combat res, and he lost his flank and lost his charge. At least that's how I think it's supposed to work. I mean, let me know if that's not correct. If you still get your flank and your charge if the unit died, but we played it where they didn't. So that was 3 to combat res he didn't get. And also the Croxagore, they didn't do much. I mean, they were strength 5. I had the blessing. I made some good saves. And I just killed a bunch of skinks and got a bunch of combat res. It reminded me of in Vampire Counts armies when you take zombies, how they just give up a lot of combat res. So they actually broke them. They didn't run them down, unfortunately, but the Croxagore are now fleeing. So now it goes to my turn, and the first thing I do is charge my men-at-arms into the Croxagore, who flee. And as you can see, they fled past the Slon. I didn't catch them. And then I tried charging with every knight unit, both Knights of the Realm unit, my Knight Errant unit with my Lord, and my Pegasus Knights into the Slon, and they all failed their charge and stumbled forward about 2 inches. So, nothing ventured, nothing lost, and nothing gained for that matter. So, there's my battle lines kind of reformed there, and we're about to circle around and take out that Slon unit. And I also moved up my archers and shot at the skinks who had done a few wounds, but nothing really came of that. On his turn, the Croxagores rally behind the Slon, so good for them, but they're kind of in an awkward position. His Slon gets off Dwellers Below on my men-at-arms during his magic phase. Thankfully, he didn't target one of my knight units, which was a good thing. Kills a bunch of them off. They forces a panic. They start fleeing, and then just to top it off, the Sorcerer's Portal casts Fireball on them, so they lose a bunch more models. So I have 4 men-at-arms left, but you know what? They did really well this game. I was rather surprised at their ability to hold on and do what they needed to do. So my turn. My turn now, and my knights all charge into the Slon unit, or try to anyway. The only 2 that make it are my Knights Errant with the Lord and my BSB. And at this point, we decided to call the game because my Lord would have chopped up the Slon, and we would have just decimated them and overran. So here's an overview of what the board looks like. The Knights of the Realm in the back there, they failed their charge, and my Pegasus Knights failed the charge as well. And here's just a cool close-up of my models. I really don't like that yellow knight in the front. He doesn't look very good. But anyway, it was a fun game. It's always nice playing Lizardmen. He usually doesn't take this Slon like this, but man, that's Slon with Lower Life. That is a beast. I mean, I just couldn't compete in the magic phase, especially once he got Throne of Vines off. I didn't dispel it when it first was cast, and then during my magic phases, I should have tried to dispel it, but I instead tried to cast my own spells, which came to bite me in the butt because my wizard killed herself. And the Saurus units, the Saurus are great, but I think what would be even better is if they were just all 1 unit, because Bretonnians charging in, everybody knows they have to win on the charge or else. And a bunch of Saurus warriors, strength 4, steadfast, coming at me. That's no fun for turn after turn after turn. So if I were to play Lizardmen against Bretonnia, that's what I would do. Just make a big long bus of Saurus. Otherwise, it was a fun game. MVP, definitely the Men-at-Arms. They held that flank there like they needed to do. They even broke the Croxagore, and they survived the game. So crushing victory to Bretonnians. I hope you guys liked it.